Hey, welcome back. So I want to talk a little bit about the teen years. Now, when they were little, I was their world. They were my world. Everything was wrapped around all of us. And we went places together, the library, the YMCA. We went to sports events. We went to play games. We did it together. And then as they got older, of course, they all got older at different times, but as they got older, they had new friends and they went and did things with their friends. And we didn't do many things together. I mean, we still had our vacations and our family time and dinner at night, but they had new friends and new experiences. So they would go off and do that, especially junior high school to high school when their sporting events would be in different towns. Where we live, sometimes we have to go 2 hours to meet with another school and have a sporting event. And so we would try to travel to see those from time to time. We didn't go every time, but it was an enjoyable time. The whole thing was, though, with the teenagers is sometimes I think they've lost their mind. It's like, I realize it's a teenage thing, but they don't think like they used to. They don't think like adults do. They're very self-centered. Everything is about them, and it should be, because there's not a lot of other times in your life that everything can be about you. I mean, as adults, everything can't be about us. We have other responsibilities and things we need to do, but as a teenager, everything is about them. And even into their young adults, early 20s, it's still about them. But navigating the teen years was tough. Instead of having to clean up vomit and change diapers and constantly be there, instead I was waiting up at night wondering when they were going to come home. They had a curfew, but somehow it was just too late for me most of the time. And I was like, where are they? Are they okay? And the weather would be horrible and I'd be worried and be worried sick, text them, okay, yeah, we're good. And then they would come home and I would be like, oh, good, I can go to bed. The whole thing with that is a lot of times they wanted to talk when they got home, and sometimes that was the best time to talk to them, because that's when they kind of opened up and they wanted to tell you about their day. They wanted to tell you about their friends. Other times I think they were so busy, their minds were going 1,000 miles an hour that they just didn't have time to say, I need to sit down and talk to you. So this would happen mostly at night. Now, as this was my first and then my second, but as I had more teenagers, I found myself getting less and less sleep. And so I wasn't always able to talk to them every time they came home at night, because sometimes it got really late. And I think that one of my things, if I could go back and do it again, would be to stay up and talk to them every time. I learned a lot about them and their things they loved and things they didn't love. And I wish I had spent more time talking to them at night. Maybe if I had had a different schedule, it would have worked better. Maybe if I had taken a nap. I had a hard time concentrating on what they were saying at night when I'm so tired. But another thing with teenagers is they want to try things. They want to see what this is and what that is. And their friends are doing this and their friends are doing that. And how can you make my curfew this when my friends don't have this and my friends don't have their parents always on top of them and they don't have, yeah, they do. And, they say, don't you trust me? Maybe I trust you, but I don't trust the rest of the world, especially with their driving. Well, don't you trust me to drive to the cities? I mean, come on, don't you trust my driving? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. But I don't trust everybody else on the road. I don't trust their driving. I don't know them. So there would be a lot of little arguments like that. Things that, the whole, don't you trust me? I think that's a great thing that teens like to throw in your face. Well, you don't trust me. You're just a horrible parent, because other parents, they trust their children. No, they don't. And so I think we had a few little incidents like that. We also had a lot of tears, a lot of broke my heart so many times. Raising boys is so different than raising a girl. And they're so different from what I was as a teenager. I mean, I'd cry over boys. I didn't get a date. I didn't get to go. I'm so upset. Boys were like, whatever. Then they would tell me things that kind of scared me. They said they had, after a band concert or a choir concert or a sporting event, they would have naked Olympics. I was like, I don't even want to know what that is. Just the word naked, I don't want to know what it is. So there's a few times that they would go to tell me stuff and I'm like, you know what? I'm not your confessor. Please do not think that I'm going to wipe away everything that you've done that's wrong, because I'm not. And I also don't want to know it. I love you and I don't want to know everything you do. let's keep a little magic in this relationship. I want to make sure they were safe. I would say, are you safe? And I want to make sure that they were doing things legally. Don't do anything illegal. Please be safe and conduct yourself in a legal manner and an appropriate, respectful manner. There were some things I just didn't want to know. And they, as adults, they love to torture me with these things. Mom, we never told you. I'm like, I don't want to know. I want to live in my little fairy tale of thinking that you are angels, even though I know you weren't. But I don't need the definitely know that. So I can just think it in my head. As teenagers, though, they were so different because G was up here 9 years older than JT at the bottom. And JT, G would say things to JT like, oh, Mom used to make bread and she used to make cookies and she used to do it all the time. And she made homemade, this and homemade that. And JT was like, Mom doesn't do that. Mom doesn't make bread and she doesn't make cookies. She doesn't make anything homemade. And I didn't when JT was old enough to remember, but I did when Gunnar was. And the reason being is life changes. Your responsibilities change. What you're doing changes. Your time changes. I became very sick at one point in time, and the doctors did a lot of tests, and I had to quit eating gluten. So no cookies or bread in the house besides what we'd buy at the grocery store. And people are like, well, why don't you just make cookies and bread anyway? Well, I couldn't eat them. And having them in the house was very tempting. And so it was just better the kids could get their own cookies and bread. And so I know there was Gunnar's mom and there was JT's mom. And those moms were different. Gunnar's mom had energy. She was young. She had no money, but she had energy. And she was young and she could cook and she could do all these things, play tons of games, and also, taught him lots of things before any of the other ones came along. And it was very interesting because then JT's mom, she doesn't have the energy. She's tired more often. She's working full time, but she has money. And so it's a totally different experience. Now, I was at the high school I was there the year Gunnar graduated, but I was there as a very long-term sub. But when JT, Zeke, Jake Cutter, Zeke, Kennedy, JT, I was there. And so they were able to come into my room and check with me and get money, have me sign things. Gunnar really hadn't had that experience. I had long-term subbed in lots of schools, just happened to be at the high school with the year he graduated. So he didn't get to have that mom. He got to have a different mom, a mom with energy and a mom who was like so excited about everything, a mom who scrapbooked and took pictures and was like, whoa, cut things out of the newspaper. JT's mom, tired, but more available for other things. More available at school. He could come in anytime. More available for things that he might want to do, go to camp or anything, because we had more money at that time. And so it's funny to think back that my kids have different memories of me, but at the same time, I have different memories of them. Gunnar's a totally different child than JT was. And they are both wonderful and they both have the good and the bad, but they're different. And so being a mom to each of them makes me have to be a little different too. And also your age makes a big difference. My sister has 11 years between two of her children. And she likes to say, oh, young mom has to come out. I got to get young mom out because, Eddie needs me to be young mom today. She says, most of the time I'm old mom. And she's like, she sees the difference and I see the difference. And I didn't have that huge gap in my children. They were all boom, 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 within 9 years. But just seeing that and recognizing the fact that you're a different person, they're different people, and it's okay. I think that's a very important lesson that I learned when they were teenagers. And letting them go is a totally different video. But I've enjoyed them at all ages and all stages. And I hope you've enjoyed your children too, or if you're planning on having children. There are challenges. There are heartbreaks. You will cry. You will laugh. You will scream. You will be euphoric and you will be devastated. And there are a huge amount of different things that will happen while you're raising children and in your own life without children if you don't have them. But I would encourage you to have them because they make you a better person. I would love to hear about your experiences and what you think and how it's going in your life and with your children or without your children. But thanks so much for stopping by and have a great day.